You are now. Let's call to order this city council meeting for the city of Bixby, May 26th, 6 p.m. Yvonne, would you call the roll?
Loudmouth.
Here.
Stewart.
Here.
King.
Here.
And Easton.
Here. Please stand while we do the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for the invocation.
Well, let's bow our heads. To you, O Lord, I offer my prayer to remember, O Lord, your kindness and your constant love that you have shown us. I pray for continued guidance to the council for direction on making Bixby a better place for us all. Thank you. I ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
We'll start tonight's meeting with the consent agenda. Do we have any discussion or questions on the consent agenda?
I do, Mayor.
Which item?
Okay. D, E, F, H, and I.
Okay. Do you think there'll be a need to pull any of those from the consent agenda, or you want to discuss them first?
No, sir, I'd like to pull item D.
D is in David.
Yes, sir. I'd also like to pull for sure item I. I'd also like to pull item E, and I believe F and H can be resolved via discussion.
Okay, let's just pull all of those, Councilman Stewart. That's easier to keep up with.
Yes, sir.
So we need a motion on the consent agenda for items A, B, C, and G. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve A, B, C, and G. Nope. No, it wasn't G, was it?
G, yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, G.
I'll second.
Loudmouth.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
King.
Yes.
And Easton.
Yes. Item D, FY16 budget, including budget resolution. Councilman Stewart.
Yes, sir. I want to thank you, Mayor, for making that accommodation. I first want to say that I want to express gratitude to city staff for working on adding some additional manpower for services within the limited amount of budget that we have. I know that that wasn't an easy task, so I just wanted to tip my cap first and say thank you. Secondly, I believe that government should be for the people and by the people, and until I believe that we have a government that would that is within that matrix, I'm going to respectfully not support our budget for fiscal year 2016.
Any other discussion? Do we have a motion on item D on the FY16 budget?
Are there things in the budget you think can be fixed, or what?
I believe, and of course, I'm not wanting to be inflammatory or be disingenuous, and so that's why I started off with a compliment. I know that this was hard to get to. I just felt rushed this year, and I know that we were trying to accommodate schedules. I just believe that there needs to be a greater accountability among all forms of government, whether it's local, state, or federal. And so that's primarily the reason why I'd like to pull it and vote no, because I just feel like it was a rushed process. I know we tried to do what we could with it, but I still think that at the end of the day, it's not good enough.
Doug?
So are there specific changes? When does the budget have to be passed?
Well, the original timetable that this council adopted was for passage at its May 11th meeting. That's not a legal requirement, but it was something you all committed to in order that we could, and you did extend it another 2 weeks. It was in recognition of the many, many projects that are important to the community as far as large capital infrastructure projects and the like that we need to turn our attention to. I do know that we had a nearly unprecedented number of work sessions on the budget. It was equal to what we did last year, which itself was unprecedented. And I had not received any questions from the budget, on the budget from outside those meetings that we had. We've resolved all questions on it. I do recall the mayor at the end of our last work session asking if everybody had said their piece, basically. It was with that understanding and all of those understandings that we did bring it to you all tonight. I will say this is very clearly a public safety budget. It puts the priority emphasis on adding manpower. In the past 3 years, the emphasis has been on increasing compensation for our city employees, police, fire, non-uniformed employees as well, in order to ensure that we could attract and retain employees. And it was this council's guidance that while we continue to do what we can to ensure that we're able to attract quality workforce and retain them, that and this budget does provide funding to do so, the greatest emphasis, as was mentioned, was adding manpower. So what we're doing is restoring positions that were lost during the Great Recession collapse. And I just mentioned that this budget provides resources in fiscal year 16. It starts July 1st. It will add, effective July 1st, 1 additional police officer, 2 additional communications officers. Most people know them as dispatchers. And they dispatch for police and fire, 1 additional firefighter, 1 streets laborer, these all out of the general fund. And then we are adding 1 additional police officer January 1st. So we brought that ahead from the next fiscal year, again trying to ensure that we are doing all we can within the dollars that are available to us to help provide, maintain service levels to our growing community.
Well, Richard, if you got another week, you think that we could do it, or you think there's just no impasse? I mean, it's just going to be dead no matter what.
I'm not trying to be disingenuous, excuse me. I know we have worked hard, and I know that there was a lot of time put into it. I also believe that we have a systemic problem, and I believe that it should be addressed. So whenever we had went our separate ways, I had said what I was going to say about it. There was, at this point, I believe that until some of those issues get addressed, like I discussed, because there's been some more issues that have come up since then, I just want to make sure that we are good stewards of the citizens' finances. As leaders of our city elected representatives, we have a fiduciary responsibility to make sure that everything is in order. And so that's why I felt like it was a little rushed, and I'm not blaming anybody for that. I'm just saying that's just how I felt. And so that's why I respectfully.
Well, Doug, when does it have to be voted in? When do we have to have it?
I believe I'm looking to Finance Director, maybe June 14th is the last day in which it can be. I would tell you there, from an administrative standpoint,
I understand that.
it takes time to set it up, but just to answer specifically, I think it's right about June 14th.
Okay. I mean, I would be all right with putting it off a week.
I would too.
To a special meeting?
Yeah, the special meeting.
Be a special meeting.
Be a special
then.
meeting.
Yeah, because I've been thrown into a lot of this stuff that like I didn't agree to the begin date or anything when we first started. So it wouldn't. I think it's something that wouldn't hurt us to look at a little bit more.
I'm fine with that.
I would merely ask, is there a process by which we'll get some identification of what the issues are? Because as I sit here, I don't know what the issues are.
Well, that's what I want to find out for sure. I think we take some time and really, because we had a lot of other things that we were trying to go through that night, and to be honest, I never thought trying to go through all of it in one night like that was going to work. So maybe now that we've kind of been absorbed a little bit, and we do it one more time next week, even if we have to have another late night session, and then come in the next the next night to vote or something, I'd be willing to do that. I'd rather do it right than do it, and try and have the endorsement of everybody on council as opposed to have something that's, not what everybody's behind.
Well, I'll repeat from my standpoint, I'm happy to be of service to you. At this point, we've not had any issues identified to our knowledge, but we're happy to meet with you at any time. I think we broke that one, which looked like it was going to go very late. We broke it up into 2 long sessions, and if you all would like to have a third one,
I think we're gonna
I
need
just
to.
need
I think so too.
Is everybody
to get
available next week?
meet you
And
to your
also too,
schedules.
I know I haven't communicated on budgetary issues, but I've a bit of constituency issues lately. I have been doing that, which has always been my focus as a councilman, is the people. And so, I have some questions that, quite honestly, I would like to share with my other councilmen and with the city manager face to face, and not via this email type of thing. I mean, I just want to sit down and talk about some concerns that I have.
I'm good with that. So as long as everybody's available next week, we can always pick dates next week, but I'm open.
The room is not available next week because of Board of Adjustment and Board of, and Planning Commission.
Can't we do it in here?
How about June 8th?
What about,
That,
pardon me, Mayor, I think I was getting the sense of
Oh, I'm sorry.
well, I wasn't sure what type of meeting was being proposed. I heard maybe meet this time next week, but there's a conflict, at least in this
In
room.
this room, well, then we could, the most
thought you
important
were
is to do a review, do another work session over it, okay?
I mean, I
We
can
can do
meet
that at
next
any
Monday
time.
in the conference room.
Yeah, that's me too.
Okay.
So let's just do that and to review it, and then if the vote has to move to that next, that's
Or
fine.
I don't
but-
mind even adjourning out of there and voting.
Yeah,
I don't mind that. If there's a need to have a budget at a particular time, I don't mind having a vote on it then. It doesn't matter to me. I just have more discussion.
yeah, I agree with you.
I do too.
Okay.
Okay, so we can do a work session at 5 o'clock. How many hours do you think this will take? And then we could do a special work session, and then we could set a special meeting like at 9 o'clock or something, or 8 o'clock. Would that work?
It's possible to go ahead and, I mean, you can have action in the work session. It could be just a special meeting. So I
Okay,
think
special
you can-
meeting, okay.
As long as you anticipate that. Usually your work sessions are no action, but in this case, you can.
And then we can just do that over there.
Yeah,
Let's just how about a special work session June 1st? Everybody make that?
works for me.
Yes, sir.
At 5 o'clock?
Yes, sir.
And Mayor, if I may, and Councilman, I just would ask that you communicate to the city attorney to make sure that the issues you have are properly styled so that we honor the Open Meeting Act, so that it can be covered under the title that you're giving. I'm understanding you wish to discuss the budget. And if you have issues that are not budget, but they're something else, I'm just only speculating, that might not be able, could be covered in that, so just
Right.
urge you to.
If
Okay.
I can use this opportunity to notify the clerk officially under the Open Meeting Act that we're going to have a special meeting in the Dawes Conference Room, 113 West Dawes, in the at
June
5 o'clock
1st.
on June 1st.
Okay, so item D has been passed until June 1st, 5 o'clock in the Dawes Building. Don, would you tell those folks that we have a closed-circuit TV set up in the courtroom if they'd like to
They
sit?
can't hear the sound in the courtroom at the moment.
Oh, there's no sound?
Whatever button press that happened to mess it up last time got pressed again while I was gone.
Never mind.
There's no sound in here.
Never mind. I guess they'll get up.
That's unfortunate.
Can we bring in extra chairs or?
As long as the fire department
There's no
doesn't-
music, no sound over there, Don.
Paul, is it more than a delay? It's actual,
No, there's no sound. There's some button somebody pressed to kill the sound out of VDesk, and I can't remember off the top of my head what they did. I had to have them remote in. It took them 3 seconds to fix it, but they're probably not there. I mean, I could do it right now if you want. I'll call, but I don't think they're there.
Probably most of
Is
these
it
people are here
3 second?
for agenda item 8 and 9, if I'm
Yeah,
not mistaken.
we'll just crowd them in here. I think they're here. They ought to be able to hear what's going on.
I think we're within the fire code right now, so.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Can we
62.
open those doors? Eric, could we open those doors and they could stand out in the hall and
Or
listen?
if we have time for someone to go fix it, I mean, it may take
Yeah,
us
that's
a
what I'm
while.
saying, I can call them and see.
Yeah, if it's a 3-second fix.
Let 'em-
Yeah, it's a 3-second fix. It's
An outside party. He's gonna.
So they may not even be there.
Yes. He's gonna try and call them.
Okay, in the meantime, item E, I guess, will also be passed until June 1st.
That would make
Yes, sir,
sense.
that would be fine.
Yeah.
So that brings us to item H,
I thought it was F.
F, okay. Item F.
I just need some clarification again, or if I don't think I've received it yet. We're looking at $25,000 for unleaded gasoline. Where is this? Is this,
We purchased that from a central point, and then it is cost allocated out to the individual departments. I believe this is a general fund purchase using the general fund. I might point out that under the Bixby Public Works Authority, there will be a companion amount which is funded out of BPWA funds. And it is our practice to, a few times a year, to make such an acquisition, which we store fuel in our tanks. And of course, our employees fill their public safety and other vehicles. It's that time of year to
okay.
fill again.
I will say it's kind of stays in there with the same amount. I mean, B always brings it in. It's usually, used to be like 15,000 and then it went to 25,000 about 2 years ago, and it's always been consistent. You don't really know when it's going to come in because it's kind of sporadic, because like when they get low, she'll just order another bunch and they'll fill up the tank. And when it's,
I just didn't want to not ask about a $25,000 expenditure.
Do we have a motion then? Any other comment on F?
Not on F, no, sir.
I'll move to approve F.
I'll second.
Loudmout.
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
and Easton.
Yes. Item H, Councilman Stewart.
The herbicides use on the parks and ball fields, is that for all the parks that
Can
are?
he come up to the podium? Can he come up to the podium?
Can you come to the podium, please?
Don,
Sorry, Don.
I can't hear.
I'm sorry, sir.
Councilor Stewart, the herbicides are for all the parks, trails, outside the ball field playing areas.
So it won't apply to Washington Irving? or-
Yes, it will.
It does.
And
and
Charlie Young,
Young,
Washington Irving, Quail Creek, all the trail
all those,
systems.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Bentley doesn't need herbicides, or not Bentley,
Outs-
Bixoma Lake doesn't need
I
herbicide.
can't get away spraying
No,
out
that's
there
fine.
legally.
Thank you, sir.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion on item F, H? Do
No,
we have
sir.
a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Stewart,
Yes.
Loudmout.
Yes.
King,
Yes.
and Easton.
Yes. Item I, Councilman Stewart.
Thank you, Mayor. I just was curious to see that, and I'm really glad we could be able to honor one of our own and be involved in that particular event. I thought it was good. I thought there was a lot of community involvement. I was just kind of surprised to see do we know if, I think there's two points I have. Number one, is this going to be a regular function of the city to be involved in these type of special events? Because we have some others coming up as well. I heard of a fireworks show coming up in June or July 1st in our city. Are we going to help out with that or the other things? So I just wanted to talk about a precedence that sets. I don't mind, again, honoring a young man who has done a lot for our city and given our city recognition. I just didn't know the type of precedence it sets when we start spending money. And I'm sure that this comes, and I don't know what fund this comes out of either. And is it going to exceed $5,000? I just don't know. It says not to exceed $5,000.
Councilman, it will not exceed $5,000. As I recall, we did also have one sponsor step forward. We solicited sponsorships from local businesses. I want to thank the Holiday Inn Express for stepping up and being an anchor sponsor in that. And our concept on this was as a one-off item, not necessarily precedential setting. we saw this as an opportunity, and it had its birth actually at a time when NBC was calling us, an opportunity to be national television exposure for the city of Bixby. And so it was a strategic decision made at the time. We began lining up this, and as people in the community learned of it, there was a great demand that we do something to honor this young man who has so honored us. And so the school and the city did partner together and pull it off, and the idea was we would at least get statewide recognition. And,
So if someone would like to partner with the city in these type of events, how would they go about doing that? Would it be through economic development or?
we saw this as having some economic development potential for us in terms of initially nationwide recognition. And I would welcome someone coming forward. We do not have an established fund or fund of dollars to be able to just do everything. And I'm sure there are many events out there, so we don't want to mislead anyone that this is something we can do on a regular basis, but at this time.
On the fireworks show that is going to be held by the Bridge Church, are we going to have to add police officers or firefighters for that? Where is that? Is that my understanding? That's going to be at Bentley.
Actually,
That's going to be on their property.
It's going to be on their
At
property.
121st and Memorial, yes, sir.
and I was going to have Chief Shirley mention that during the CM report, at least to the extent we didn't want to get too far ahead of the sponsors, because I don't know for
Right.
sure.
I was just trying to stay on this item, and
Understood.
again, I was just trying to bring up.
Well,
we
you
have
asked about
things-
other
things going
events,
on.
and that's
Sure.
another event. Can we talk about that here?
Not
No.
Good job, Patrick.
There's your answer.
specifics
Evidently
about the
not.
event, but
But
to the
just
extent that it
a
may-
precedence that's.
Yeah.
About other
precedents.
events.
Yes, sir.
The precedents.
Is he on topic if he brings up this issue, is this question?
If it expresses a concern on this issue about it setting a precedent for
For
future
other-
issues.
yes, sir. And not
To
that
a
I.
limited degree.
Yes, sir.
Let's just go ahead and vote on the item. We'll talk about it. We're sure sitting on the fence on what we can do here.
I just wanted to make sure that, I like to at least know about it in the future if we have to do something like this. I don't mind. I mean, it's, again, honoring things and being involved in the community, which is good. But I just didn't know what type of precedent it'd be setting, because there are other people that host events in our city that, would be interested in probably the same type of benefit, so.
And this was largely our event, is the way I would draw a distinction.
Any more discussion on item I?
No, sir.
Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Stewart.
Yes.
Loudmout.
Yes.
King.
Yes.
And Easton.
Yes. On the regular agenda, nomination for election of 2 trustees for Oklahoma Municipal Assurance Group for 3-year terms commencing July 1st, 2015. Doug, do you have some recommendations for that?
Betty, I believe one of those was the city manager from Ponca City, Craig, I'm drawing a blank on his last name, Craig Stevenson. And if you might be able to help me on the other recommendation if we had one. I'm also drawing a blank there.
With Bill Flanagan, Mayor of Claremore, Lindsay Grigg, City Clerk of El Reno, Kimberly Meek, City Manager of Guyman, Mike Nunnally, Town of Manford, Patty Schleight, Town of Fort Cobb, Craig Stevenson, Ponca City, Mark Winery of Drumright. And we're gonna nominate 3.
Thought it was 2.
2. And you had one nomination that you knew that you recommended?
Craig Stevenson, Ponca City Manager, and Mike Nunley, who is the town administrator
That's
of
who I wanted.
Manford.
Okay.
We work very closely with him, see him regularly, so I think he would advocate and represent this community well.
Do we have a motion? Any more discussion? Anybody want to discuss this any further? Do we have a motion to nominate Mike Nunley and Craig Stevenson to OMAG?
So moved.
Second?
Loudmout.
Yes.
Easton.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
And King.
Yes. Item number 2, discussion and consideration to approve an application for major amendment number 1 to supplemental zoning PUD 49 to be known and designated on the official zoning map as PUD 49-A, approximately 12.6 acres, located at 13455 South Memorial Drive and 13500 South Memorial Drive. Eric?
Thank you, Mayor. There are 3 cases that have come up next on the agenda. Each one is represented by 3 items. The first item in each case is the application. Depending on the disposition of the application item, the ordinance item and the emergency clause item would follow. If any case does not get 4 affirmative votes, because 4 votes are required for an emergency clause attachment, staff will recommend that the ordinance item be treated as a ordinance first reading. It will be brought back to the next or a subsequent meeting for second reading and possible adoption by a majority vote, as per charter. If any item does get 4 affirmative votes, then the ordinance will be in order for approval along with the emergency clause attachment. In this particular one, we have a request for major amendment number 1 to PUD 49. This PUD was done about 10 years ago. It's the commercial center at the northeast corner of 136th and Memorial. At the center of this application is a request that the last remaining commercial lot, which is right at the intersection of 136th and Memorial, be zoned for additional mini storage development. As you may recall, last summer we had perhaps a unprecedented joint meeting of the Planning Commission and City Council, wherein we talked about land use policy within our commercial corridors. And we recognized, and I'll go ahead and read you the language, due to the critical need for retail development to support capital improvements and municipal services within areas designated essentially commercial corridor, it is city policy to, number 1, prefer retail development over all other land use types where appropriate in context, and secondly, to require a plan unit development be processed along with any application to rezone to commercial. I believe this would be the very first test this council's had of the new land use policy preferring retail use within our commercial corridors. This application would take a lot that is commercial and could be put to retail use and asks that you allow for it to be developed for mini storage, which is not a retail use. It does not generate the retail sales taxes needed to fund municipal services and capital improvements. Staff did not support this application. The Planning Commission, in its April meeting, unanimously recommended denial, and essentially allowing this lot to continue to be a commercial lot, be developed according to the provisions of the PUD as it stands today. I did also receive some information from the applicant prior to the meeting that I'll pass out to you. I believe the applicant would like to discuss the details of their application.
Eric, does the applicant know about our desires for this area?
We have had several extensive discussions on this very matter, yes. Staff has been very upfront and explicit about the city council's preference for retail within commercial corridors, and that the law be allowed to remain as is and be developed commercially according to the current rules. I would be happy to answer any questions you might have for me, and the applicant is also present.
Eric, I need a little help on the map. Where is PUD 49 and where's PUD 49A?
Well, right now, it is PUD 49.
Okay, and this is just gonna move it to 49A.
That is their request.
And by moving it to 49A, it's enclosed the vacant lot.
Yes, yes,
It's
PUD
included.
49.
Okay.
49A is the name that they would give this, if
Okay.
approved.
Okay, are you finished, Eric?
Sure.
Well, can I just ask one
Okay, go
question?
ahead.
So we're talking about, like on this one map where it says site, a little right up, that's the actual piece we're talking about, right? So we're talking about making that mini storage, right there on Memorial.
Yeah,
Right.
right at the intersection of
So we would
136.
have mini storage frontage on Memorial. We'll make
Yes.
sure that's, I'm understanding that.
Yes.
Are they willing to brick it?
In my latest discussions with them, we did get into details. We're required, or they are required to have masonry. I don't think that they contemplated that at this time, but they are here and can answer these kinds of questions if the council is favorable to the application.
Any other council questions for Eric? Okay, the owner's representative is here.
We are.
Sir, please state your name when you get to the
I
microphone.
won't need the full 30 minutes.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor and city councilors, I'm Jim Norton, and I'm here to talk about Bixby Crossing. I do have a partner here who has allowed me to speak. I don't know why, but he's allowed me to give our side of the story. I need to give you a little history about our project. We started in 2006. And at that particular time, we were looking for a mini storage land to build a mini storage on. That particular land at 135th and Memorial was in a floodplain. And so we weren't interested in that, being used car dealers, in tackling the floodplain. So we did hear from Tulsa Teachers Credit Union, though, that they were interested in purchasing some of the frontage from us if we brought it out of the floodplain, which we did. And we knew at that time we would be left with about 1.5 acres that we felt like would not be difficult to sell on Memorial. So we brought the property out of the floodplain, and as I said, Tulsa Teachers Credit Union took all but 1.5 acres. We have had a sign, a for sale sign on the property for 9 years. We've had brokers involved. We have had one, to my knowledge, we have one really interested party, and we did not get into negotiation on price with that party. That was for a car wash. And frankly, it wouldn't have been a very good use for that property either. So we spent about $1 million to bring that out of the floodplain. What I would like for you to consider is what we thought was a good plan in 2006, 9 years ago, is not a very good plan today. And if we've tried to sell the property for 9 years, the chances of us getting a good commercial use on that particular 1.5 acres, I think, is slim and none. We have, I think we have done some good things. The city of Bixby and also the schools have received $450,000 in property taxes that we've paid from that development over a period of 9 years. The property taxes on it before we took it out of the floodplain were $2,000 a year. So we feel like there's been some benefit to the area, certainly. We would just, as I said earlier, our preference was to sell the property. I think 9 years is enough time to find out if something can be sold for another use. We think at this particular time, we're only asking for 16,000 square feet additional added to the plan. We already have, as our original PUD determined, that we have an additional 10,000 square feet that we can build. We didn't build it at the time because we wanted to sell that property. But we have the right to build that 10,000 square feet. We'd like to have your permission to build an additional 16,000 square feet to finish our project at that particular location. We will, obviously, we'll work with the Planning Commission, and I think we have an attractive self-storage. We have no open storage, we have no boats, we have no buses, we have no motorhomes. that are visible. Everything is enclosed. So we think at this time, we would ask you to also agree that the highest and best use for it at this time has changed. And we would like to go to Plan B with the property. Glad to answer any questions.
Questions from the council?
I've never been a storage guy, so I'm not the right one to ask any questions.
And I know that the citizens I represent, there's a few things they're tired of going on Memorial, and storage is one of them. The citizens in Bixby don't really want to have storage along Memorial Drive. That's the overwhelming word that I keep getting from my constituents.
Well, I think the appearance of the self-storage is excellent. I don't think we're going to offend anybody with our appearance down there. We are 95 to 98% full, have been for the last 3 years, so there is demand there. Somebody else will fill that demand probably if we
I think
don't.
the citizens know that what Bixby needs more than anything is businesses that generate sales tax revenue. And the way we generate income for city services is through sales tax revenue. So even though the taxes that you've paid to the school and to Tulsa County, those are through ad valorem property taxes, the city hasn't received anything from that. And so you know, the citizens know this, and that's one of the reasons why frankly why I ran, because I too was wanting to be a voice for the people in that regard.
Well, I understand that. Again, we have tried. Our preference was to sell the property. I think 9 years is long enough to try to sell a piece of property, and especially since we've had no activity on it. So I think a better use for the property is what we're proposing, as opposed to raw land, which is really what it's been for 9 years.
Well, I have to go along with Mr. Ritchie, and just one fact. First of all, I want to tell you thank you so much for bringing your business to our community. I appreciate that, and I would be an idiot if I didn't tell you thank you.
Thank you very much.
And yeah, and I can see you trying to find a good use for that property, because that's what everybody does that owns it, and I appreciate and understand that. I'm kind of at the other side of it, where the people that brought me in live down that street, and they've just built new homes, and I know that's something that they really were frustrated with, some of the things that have happened over the years, and they wish that people would kind of guard over them just a little bit more on what's happened. And that would be it'd be my reason for not voting for it, because I mean, I would do whatever I could to help you in any business I can here, but this is something that is kind of working against what we're trying to change on this area. Because when it comes to this edge of town, this side of town, you get up by the bridge and come this way, for a long time we haven't really been able to do much of anything, and we're trying to change that.
I understand that. I think your policy is fine. I just think that there are circumstances and exceptions to every policy, and I think this is a valid one.
I appreciate, too, what you've done and that you're coming into Bixby. However, this is the first test of our new ordinances and our new regulations that we put into effect. And I think as the first test for what we just put in just 6 or 7 months ago, to vote in opposite of what we did back then would probably not be the best thing for this city to do. And
So would you consider us as a second or third test?
I don't.
I mean, I'd rather see it as a car wash than see it as a storage.
Well, there's not any retail money in car washes either.
I mean, but, you know me in storage.
You know,
I'm
this
never-
city is losing retail frontage, and we live or die on sales tax. And that's why we enacted what we did back in the summer, to preserve what little frontage that we had for sales tax revenue sources. And I'm gonna have to stick with what we did back in the summer. But appreciate what you're trying to do, but I think good things are getting ready to come to Bixby. I think if you held on just a little bit longer, you might find a good.
Well, I don't think I want to hold on another 9 years.
I don't think it'll take that long, but does anybody want to make a motion on approval of this? So I guess this motion dies for lack of a motion by,
I was wondering, if there was a motion to deny, the applicant would not be able to apply again for another year.
So-
Absent a motion to approve, do you want to withdraw the application?
well, it's the same thing. We didn't have a motion.
I think, I'm sorry, Mr. Well,
You have your hand raised, sir?
I think it might be better.
Okay, would you like to withdraw the agenda item?
No.
That would give you opportunity to bring it back within a year.
No, we want to discuss, or think about the other opportunities for the client, and we'd rather you vote it out. That's your position.
A motion to deny.
A second.
Stewart,
Deny, or how do I've never done this before.
Motion to deny, you say you agree.
Yeah,
with.
yes.
King,
Yes.
Loudmout,
Yes.
and Easton.
I don't think motion to deny was the way to go, so I'm gonna abstain.
Counts as a no vote. And the motion to deny passed. Is that all votes?
That was item number 3, correct? Yeah. So item number 4 was tied to item number 3, so,
Was that not item 2?
Yeah.
no, you're right, that was item,
Two, so that's
Are
fine.
2, 3,
No.
and 4 together?
yeah.
You cannot do 3 and 4 in the absence of approval.
3 and 4, yeah, they go away also. That brings us to item number 5. Discussion and consideration to approve applications for supplemental zoning PUD 88 in rezoning from RS1 to CG per BZ-382 for approximately 1.25 acres consisting, we're also going to say addressed as 13164 South Memorial Drive. Eric?
Thank you, Mayor. This is an existing developed facility. According to the county assessor's records, I believe the building was built in 1971. We zoned it for a daycare center in the 90s by Board of Adjustment application. It was most recently used as a daycare center. It's now vacant, and the owners would like to lease it to a new tenant. I understand that the current prospective tenant would be an animal or a pet boarding and grooming facility, which may or may not include veterinary services. Our zoning code would recognize this as a use unit 15 kennel, which does require commercial zoning. Because of the new policy that requires a PUD whenever you rezone to commercial within our commercial corridors, the applicant has brought to us, in addition to the rezoning application, a PUD application. Because it's a fairly straightforward application, they're essentially trying to rezone it. I've worked with the applicant to make sure that all the elements are in place for approval. The PUD package that's in your agenda packet is in order precisely with the recommendations of the Planning Commission and staff. It also does have provisions for in the future when it is to be redeveloped. It would have to be redeveloped to the development standards that are in effect at the time. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Did you say if staff, what staff said?
Staff and Planning Commission concur in recommending approval.
That's what I figured. So they're just basically wanting to make it into a, not a veterinary clinic per se, but a holding area for right now.
Commercial property, yes.
My question is, do they sell stuff out of kennels that we can tax?
I don't know the answer to that. There could be some incidental sales, but I don't know.
We're trying to build some streets for you folks, so we need all the retail sales tax we can get. Any other questions from council?
Yeah, if it's gonna be a kennel, what is the noise? I mean, has anybody looked into how much noise we're gonna get from that, from animals?
I don't know the answer to that question.
How far are they
Because-
from any residential areas?
The land to the west is kind of an agricultural tract. The first homes you encounter are up on 131st Street. The closest homes have most recently come to us asking to also go commercial. There are some homes, but they're at some distance.
Is the owner here or owner representative that would like to speak? Please state your name when you get to the podium, sir.
Hi, I'm Brooks Pittman, Pittman Poe Associates, did the planning on this. And the only thing I'd like to clarify is that I think the short-term goal for this is possibly veterinary or animal boarding, but the family wants to retain the property and land lease possibly. So really, most of the PUD is for future development for commercial. It's set up to follow the city standards. So I think this just, they're just trying to change the zoning now to comply with the use they may want to use, but that's not their, they would like to keep the property and develop further in the future. So that's kind of what I'd say 75% of the PUD is set up for that. So you're talking about wanting to do commercial, more commercial, that's kind of their end goal too.
Does a veterinarian generate sales tax revenue?
Only on the dog food that they sell.
Yeah,
Products.
and my knowledge is she's had someone talk to her about that, but that's not a done deal. And part of it was getting the PUD set up and then using that as her sales tool. So everything has to comply in her lease to that PUD.
Let me ask a question. Are there any plans as a kennel? Is there going to be outside kenneling of dogs?
You know what? I see that you're stepping down. That's planning commission stuff and site plan, which all has to be fulfilled in here. I can't answer that because I haven't talked to the person she's talked to. I don't think it's that serious at that point right now.
I just wondered if there was a desire to restrict it to inside kenneling if there's a potential noise problem.
The other issue I have too is, isn't there a animal hospital going up at 126th Memorial right now?
Yeah, that was all before our.
Right. So this falls under the same test, right?
Yeah, but they do sell stuff. I mean, at least the animal hospital does sell stuff, so I'm assuming these people probably will sell grooming stuff, I guess. I don't know.
Grooming services, that wouldn't fall
Yeah,
under...
no, I think that's part of what she's talked about, yeah.
So would
I'm assuming you
grooming
tax that.
services?
You don't want to get any sales tax on any services.
Typically, services lie outside
Right.
the sales tax base.
So,
Okay.
they'd have to sell a lot of dog food.
So is the potential of this having outside kennels too?
At this time, I don't, not in the existing
Of
facility
course,
they have.
I'm
They
afraid
don't-
we're getting off on a tangent. Correct me
Yeah.
if I'm wrong. You said the majority of it, they really want to go for commercial. They're just trying to get the PUD and everything kind of.
Right, and you're asking me to speculate
Yeah.
about a lease that they don't have and they may never get. So,
But a kennel is their fallback.
I don't even know. That's just one person's approached her. And I don't think that she can go and develop that kennel without going through planning commission for at least a site plan review. So issues like noise, and I don't think there's room on the lot there may be on the south side, some for where you could put
Eric,
cages.
if they're gonna go in there, would they have to come back to us?
The way it's set up now, they could occupy the existing facility with dog, cat grooming, boarding. To answer the other question asked, how far is it from residential? It's probably about 400 feet from the nearest residential to the west, not counting the rural residential tracts along 131st Street.
And
Well, you said they could occupy the existing facility. Is that all inside?
The site, the outdoor.
Within the site? So outside would be in the building.
right next to it.
Yeah, that's right. And you can impose conditions or something.
Just because the planning commission approved it doesn't mean this council is gonna be a rubber
No, I know, I
stamp.
understand, sir. Yeah.
Any more discussion from council?
You know, without more information, I'm sorry, I can't vote for it.
Well, I'm asking for commercial zoning. I'm not asking for specifically approval of a veterinary
No,
clinic.
Unless I know they're gonna be coming back to us, I can't say yes on it.
Could I address a couple things? You can ask that on this application item, they make changes. And if they agree to that, we can bring it back to the next meeting with those changes you request. If you wanted to restrict to indoor only, if it were to be a kennel or dog or cat grooming or boarding, we can do that if they're agreeable to that. So anything that is of particular concern to you, you can ask them to put that into their PUD, and this PUD can restrict that.
And that's kind of what I'm looking for, something along those lines. So we know, right, what we're, I mean, we just voted on one thing because we're worried about it not being
Yeah, and then we're
commercial,
gonna
and then we
put it
turn
all
around and
around.
do something else that may not be commercial. So I was like,
You're worried about a mini storage that makes no noise and.
Yeah.
Far back, west side.
Did you include them?
So the applicant's representative, you couldn't make a commitment as to indoor kenneling or not?
No, but if I could go discuss it with her, and if she's willing to put that restriction on there, I'm open to that. Because I understand that would be the one issue that would be hard to argue is noise.
And so you'd be willing to go with continuance of this to explore that
Is that,
possibility?
we just have to go to city council? Is that a month delay or 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Well, is it 2 weeks?
I think I'd have to do that because she's not here to answer that
Okay.
question, and I can't guarantee it, so.
Okay.
why don't we just do that? Why don't we just continue?
Let's continue
I mean,
item.
you know what? I think you got an idea of kind of what this council's looking for.
I'll talk to
We're
the
looking-
client and I'll work with
You know, we're looking for
staff
sales
about that.
tax revenue, we're looking for things like that, and then anything that's gonna be offensive down through that corridor, we're gonna probably turn down. So with that
That's
in
not a good
mind,
point.
you know,
That's not a good point.
I mean, we want you to be in there, we really do.
Well,
No, I have no problem with coming
Let's
back.
continue items 5, 6, and 7 to the next city council meeting, which is on June the 8th.
Thank you, sir.
Without objection?
Is that any objection to that from
No
council?
objection.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Eric, item number 8.
Item number 8 is the application item. There are two applications represented here. One is BZ 381, asking to rezone the Shadow Valley Mobile Home Park property of 21.1 acres from RMH Residential Manufactured Home Park to RM3 Residential Multifamily District. And then PUD 87 goes by name of Shadow Valley, and it pertains to the rezoning and potential future redevelopment of the Shadow Valley manufactured home community. We have heard this at the Planning Commission for 2 consecutive meetings. The April meeting had a very large attendance, primarily of residents of the Shadow Valley manufactured home community. In fact, we had more people than are here today. Also, at the May regular meeting, we had another packed house. Standing room only. We were above capacity for this room, and some people had to listen from the hallway. The residents are understandably concerned about the prospect of having to relocate were this rezoning and PUD to be approved. The city staff has understood that it's our responsibility, it's our duty to look at the zoning applications and provide to you a recommendation that's based on sound planning and zoning policy. Staff has attempted to limit the concern of our review to whether or not this is a good rezoning application and whether or not this is a good PUD application. At the same time, I personally understand the consequences should this property be rezoned, and I've taken that very seriously. The Planning Commission made a recommendation by a vote of 3 in favor, 1 against, consistent with the staff recommendation to recommend approval of the rezoning and the PUD, subject to certain things being done to the PUD to allow for, if it is to be rezoned and redeveloped, the ultimate development quality to be the highest that we have had in the city of Bixby. Essentially, if approved, it would match the highest quality standards that we've seen with the Chateau Villas. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have for me. The applicant is also present, and I know a number of residents would like to speak as well.
Let's question Eric, and then we'll let the applicant speak, and then we'll hear from the residents. So, do we have any, and we can always bring Eric back, do we have any questions for Eric from the council?
Eric, I think that you know, our desire has been to limit the number of apartment complexes that are coming to our community. And that's something we've made very clear, correct?
I understand that the council has considered whether or not we have adequate number of a proportion of multifamily in the city as a proportion of total housing units. And I know that it's not a universally popular land use on the council.
No, sir. So whenever we look at staff approval, what staff are you talking about?
The city staff, primarily, I review these rezoning applications.
What staff? What staff?
City staff.
Like their positions. I'm not trying to get a name. What positions look over these?
City planner.
That's it, the staff. That's awesome. Okay, so it has city planner recommendation, correct?
I did confer with my colleagues.
Okay.
City engineer, I suppose, is part of the staff, is that?
City engineer is here, he can speak for himself.
Well, it's whenever we have city staff, I'd like to know who actually put time into this. Yeah, I think you're bringing up a good point. This has been an issue that you haven't taken lightly, and of course, I'm not attacking you. I don't want you to think that. You're a very diligent worker, and you're one of the most capable people in our city, so on staff. And so I really appreciate all the hard work you do. I just know that we have routinely been opposed to, this council has been opposed to the development of multifamily housing. And so it's interesting that, we have something come up like this after we just had the big hubbub over the other thing at 121st. So that's why I'm just like trying to figure out how we got here and where we're at. And maybe I need to hear from the landowner.
Councilman Stewart, Eric's job as city planner is to review the plans and the correctness and the sufficiency of the plans.
To make sure the application's in order.
We are the policymakers.
Okay.
Eric, when he says recommends approval, he's not trying to push his policy. He's saying that the plans are intact and that the paperwork is all together.
Correct.
But Eric is not the policy making, we are.
Okay.
If I could enhance on that, I think that what the planner does is he tries to look at the comprehensive plan that's been set by this council.
Sure.
And what the goals for planning of the city are, and he's asked by the planning commission, the council, whether or not this particular proposal is consistent with the comprehensive plan. He makes that determination and makes a recommendation that it is consistent with what the council and the planning commission have established.
That's not because, do we have a comprehensive plan for down there? I'm familiar with everything else going north, but I don't remember seeing anything.
Yes. In this area, I believe it's designated corridor, which is specifically planned for intensive use. Multifamily would be considered an intensive use.
Any more questions for Eric?
Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Let's move along and let's hear from the applicant. Please state your name, sir.
My name is Malik Elkour. I'm a civil engineer. I'm the applicant representing the property owners. I'm sorry, I wasn't here at the Planning Commission meeting. I was out traveling. I understand the Planning Commission did approve 3-1 this application, recommending approval. I just want to reiterate that we did review the staff report, and we are in total approval. We agree with the staff report to increase the masonry requirements up to 40%. We have agreed to provide trails and sidewalks. We have agreed to increase the minimum required landscaping. We have agreed to a landscape buffer, and we have agreed to providing a secondary access west to Sheridan Road. I believe there are some minor items on the staff report, require some minor changes to the site plan. We have agreed to that too. So we are here before you to respectfully request approval of this application per staff recommendation. If you have any questions, please ask me. I'm here, and the property owner is also here. If you have any questions, they will be happy to answer. One thing I would like to mention, there are some concern about the leasing of the park, of the mobile home park, and the owner has, and he will speak to it, they have proposed an amendment to the current lease to extend the time required by state statutes to vacate the property.
And that would be between the landowner and the citizens. The
That's
council.
correct.
The council shouldn't be dragged into anything like that.
That's correct.
That is between the landowner and the citizens.
That's absolutely, you're right.
So,
Yes.
so we're not going to be swayed by how much time someone gives who. If he gives them extended time, that just proves that he's a very nice human being. But that's up to him.
Sure.
We're not going to get involved in personal business issues such as that.
Okay,
And
well,
so-
we respect that.
And so I'm just letting you know, our whole thing, no matter what's been said or discussed is, you know, if that's something that he wishes to do with the citizens, then that's his business.
I agree.
Because as the landowner, he's the one that bought the property with the citizens already located on the property.
Correct.
Okay?
Any other questions?
Not right now. I'll bring it back again, we'll see.
Stay close.
I'll be here.
Don't go anywhere.
Carrie Manley, you were the first to sign up.
Do I need to say like my name and my address? Sure. My name is Carrie Manley. I live at 15681 South Braden Avenue in Bixby, Oklahoma. And I just have one thing to.
Is that inside the mobile home park?
No, sir.
Okay.
I just have one thing to say to you, gentlemen. I come here tonight full of faith, believing in a God who has a plan. I have thought and prayed all day about what I wanted to say. I simply would ask that you gentlemen who are full of faith and know that God has a plan, to please stop for a moment before you decide and ask God what he wants you to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have a question for the lady. How are you connected to the park, ma'am?
My 74.
Please, we need you at the microphone. You're on TV.
Your 10 minutes, your
Sorry.
10 minutes of fame.
My 74-year-old mother, who has been a school teacher for 49 years, lives there, and so that is how I'm connected.
How long has she lived there?
She has lived there since me and my ex-husband convinced her to move to Bixby in 2007 because I thought it was a great community full of wonderful people. I've lived here since 2005. I do as much business as I can here. I love this city. I don't say I live south of Tulsa. I say I'm from Bixby. Thank you.
Thank you. The next signee is Darren Wells.
Hi, I'm Darren Wells. I live in Shadow Valley in lot number 47. You guys have heard a lot of news. We've had the news here at the different meetings. I've kind of brought a few notes real quick and some papers for you guys to inspect. One thing that we have been told constantly is that there are no impending plans to do anything with the park. I would like to hand you gentlemen a copy of their plan. If you will look, I'll wait till I get back.
Thank you, sir.
To the podium. Gentlemen, if you will look on page 6, I have highlighted one sentence. They say there are no plans, but they talk about starting construction on late spring of 2016. That right there is a direct conflict of what they have told us all along. Now, I don't know whose not telling the truth, but somebody's not telling the truth. Either this paper, and I'm sure this is part of your application process, is not truthful, or they're not truthful with us. Also, we've been threatened to take if we come to this meeting, to have and take our constitutional right away to have a 30-day notice. I realize that they could do that, but I would also like to show you a letter we received for that. Excuse me.
We all are.
Thank you, sir.
Gentlemen, I truly expect from what this letter says that because I am here at this meeting, that I will be getting a 30-day notice soon, just because I want to have my First Amendment right. I would like to ask you guys not to take my First Amendment right and show them that they cannot do this. Something else I wanted to talk about was the this property for an apartment complex. North of the river, if you drive from 111th and Memorial down to 151st and go out to Harvard, on the north side of the river, there are 6 different lots that have 4 sale signs in them that are over 20 acres that apartment complexes can be built at, and there's 8 on the south side of the river. And that's without going to Sheridan, across 121st, that's just down those 2 roads from point A to point B. There's plenty of room for, I know they want to make this a multi-family lot. Guess what? It already is. There's multi-families there. I'm not going to get into to defame anybody. It's already a multi-family lot. So leave it as a mobile home park, please. Also, on a personal note, my mother died 3.5 years ago. The last time I saw my mom alive was in my front lot. See, if I move out there, and they can make me move out, I understand that. But take that away from me. I'm very family oriented. I was raised all my life with, you don't know who you are unless you don't know where you're going unless you know where you came from. They can take that away from me, and that memory will always be there. But it sure makes it a lot more refreshing when I can go out there and sit under where we used to have a shade tree. That was her favorite thing to do, was come to see me so she could sit under the shade tree. Unfortunately, the shade tree died, but I can still look out there at the concrete spot where we would stop and talk. My son was 7 years old when we moved there 15 years ago. He's full grown now. He graduated from Bixby. Anyway, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Mandy Brungart. Did I pronounce that right? Brungart's close. But I have my glasses on.
My name is Mandy Brungart, and I actually live in Blue Ridge 2 Edition, but I do have a home in Shadow Valley. It's been there since October of 1999 when I became a resident of Bixby, and we weren't going to leave Bixby, so we just moved on the other side of the river, but we plan to stay in Bixby because the schools are amazing, the people are amazing. This is a family town. And I ask for you guys today to consider a few things before you vote on this. You said it's your obligation to protect the people of Bixby and to serve us. And I'm asking you to protect our homes. These people have lived in this park a long time. A lot of these people have nowhere to go. And in addition to that, the roads to get across the river are already bad enough without adding any more traffic in right now. We need to work on that. We need to work on expanding our schools, pulling our teachers in to house the children that will come with this development. Also, if we remove the park, that means we're removing the low-income housing. And these people, want to stay in Bixby. Low-income housing is hard enough to find around here. So that's another issue. And then also the income that will be spent from the people that would be moving in, they're going to be going down the street to Tulsa instead of spending their money in Bixby because we don't have the commercial venue that we need in order to bring in the tax revenue dollars. So we should be focusing on pulling in some more restaurants and some more stores and some more shops instead of an apartment complex. So I just ask you to think long and hard before you vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Ruthie Gunnels. Did I say that right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Actually, you're one of the first that has.
Okay.
Good job, John.
My name is Ruthie Gunnels, and I've lived in Bixby for 23 years. I have a personal connection to Shadow Valley. Not only do I know some of the people down there, but I love Bixby. My son, my oldest baby boy, lives there. And I've raised all my kids out here, and they're raising their children out here. He's been there for 16 years. I have 3 granddaughters that have grown up there, and that's the only place they know as home. You know, when we stand here and pledge the allegiance to the flag, what are we saying? What are we saying? We're fellow Americans. We're supposed to be for each other. These people are the face of a small town America. I don't see mobile homes when I look at them. I see men, women, children, Bixby residences, longtime families. They shop here, they raise their families here, they go to school here. I personally moved away from 114th and Mingo because my neighborhood turned into a nightmare. They tore down woods, put in an addition of over 800 homes. Bixby used to start at 111th. We don't consider that anymore. It's Tulsa. And if you continually drag Tulsa this way, Bixby will no longer be small town America. It's just going to have no voice, and it'll just be one big conglomeration of Tulsa. We like the south side of Bixby. We like it over here. It's quiet. That mobile home park, I don't know if y'all have been down in there, but most people that are from over here don't even know that it's there. It's so quiet. It's beautiful down in there. The roads need to be fixed, but the trees are beautiful. There's animals that live in there. If you tear down the trees, the animals are going to lose their homes also. I'm a little upset, as you can tell. You know, this is personal for me. I don't want an apartment complex over here. It's going to cause a nightmare with traffic. It's going to bring in crime, because apartment complexes do. It doesn't matter how high the rent is. It brings in crime. The school system is already cannot handle the demand. They just can't. I've raised my kids, I know. I've got my oldest, my baby boy, he's graduating next year, God willing, okay? And the right thing to do is to make the decision not to rezone and to save Bixby's own people. They have a right to be respected and have compassion. You know, progress is not supposed to be in the face of adversity. It's supposed to be a good thing, bring good things to people. This is not a good thing. Not only is it causing emotional trauma, but it's also causing these people financial trauma. They cannot afford to move a home they've lived in all these years. Do you think that they have thousands and thousands of dollars? Do your investigation. It's very, very expensive to move a mobile home. And some of them I don't think can be moved because they're really old. Some of them can, some of them can't. But they had no notice of this, this was going to happen. And that is not right. It's immoral. My Lord and Savior that I serve and believe in, Jesus, he says to do unto the least of these, and you have done it unto him. What are you going to do? Are you going to do this to them and rezone and take away their homes? Or are you going to stand for Bixby residences and support them? Thank you.
Emily Ryan.
Good evening, my name is Emily, and I live in Lot 20 inside Shadow Valley, and I've been in Bixby my entire life. I was raised here, I went to school here, and now I get to teach there. And I get to go to school, well, it's not because it's summer now, but I get to go there and I get to help support and help raise these kids that are going to be our future. And with the new additions that are coming in, it's going to overcrowd our schools regardless of no matter what multifamily business development goes in there, it's going to overcrowd our schools. Not 2 days before the school year ended, I got an email from my boss, the entire staff did, just warning us about all of the additions that are coming in, all the ones that this is the expected number next year, this is the expected number this year, this is what we're going to have to do because we've already taken a budget cut. We have to go with it. We have to learn with it. The only difference between those developments going up and the possible rezoning of this is they weren't intruding on anybody's current home. My house has been there for almost 18 years, and it probably can't be moved because the longer a mobile home sits, the more structurally sound it's not going to be. And so it's just going to get to sit there and be destroyed. Some of our people aren't structurally sound to move. Some of these people are in the last stages of their lives, and they're not going to want to spend it trying to uproot their roots that they've put here to go somewhere else. My grandma can barely get to the kitchen to get a cup of juice in the middle of the night, let alone move something in her house. Everybody who refers to this rezoning calls it a better use of the land. The Bixby I know, that I was raised in, would not say a better use of the land of people calling themselves homes is better off with them gone. The people who have put their roots here and have been here for decades. They would not say that a better use of the land would be for them to go somewhere else. Because that's what Bixby is. It's a family. We're all one big family. And that's not what you do to your family. You don't just say, oh, there's a better use for you, you can leave. That's not what families do. I teach my 5- and 6-year-olds throughout the year the difference between right and wrong. You don't call people names, you don't hit, and you don't take something away from someone that belongs to them. And that would be my home. And I would hate to lose it after being raised there, growing up there, to just see it disappear. So please, just keep in your hearts and your mind that this decision is going to affect more than just the people in this room in this neighborhood. It's going to affect the entire city of Bixby, and that's why you all are up there. You fought for the same reason we're all here today. We love Bixby, and we'd like to stay there. Thank you.
Thank you. Rachel Ryan.
Hi, my name is Rachel Ryan, and I live in lot number 20 at Shadow Valley. I have just finished my junior year of high school, and I'm about to be starting my senior year very soon. I would like to stay in Bixby to finish my senior year and graduate in Bixby. That is where I want to stay. I don't want to have to move 6 months, like in the middle of the year, and have to leave and go to Tulsa. I don't want to do that. I want to stay here. I've made friends here. I can go down the street and not have to worry about anything. I can just walk around my neighborhood and just see all my friends and be like, hey, how you doing? What's up? I don't know if I'll be able to do that in Tulsa or anywhere else. I love it here. This is my home. And with like these kids, there are kids out in the hallway that are so happy to be in this neighborhood. Like they can just go down the street and hang out with their friends and play in their yards. If you move them to if they have to move to Tulsa, you might as well just put them in handcuffs or body bags. Something bad's gonna happen to them. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Dominic Rodriguez.
My name is Dominic Rodriguez. I live at Shadow Valley, number 28. I have a few papers handed out to you guys that is very dynamic and very, very accurate, and it speaks for all of us. I'd like to hand these out first before us continue.
Thank you, sir.
Thought that would help you. Especially some spelling.
The other speakers have used about 15 minutes, or 14. I'll let you know.
You got to give it to these people. They've worked hard. They've fought hard. They're emotional. I'm emotional for them. I am the leader of this group. And I'm so proud of these people for what they have done. I'm so proud that they have worked so hard to unite. I'm so proud that you can get trailer park people together to fight for what they believe in. I'm so proud that they will uphold their constitutional right to protest when the city says, when the owner says, It is important here that we listen to these people. It is important that this couple in the head does not have to become refugees from a city that is born on love, American pride. The cost is great, both financially and in the heart. These people, what happens here tonight does not stop here. They are faced with fear when they go back home. They will be evicted. They will have 30 days to take their mobile home that may not be able to be moved and have to go away. How can you do that? We've been offered 9 months, no rent. It is a form of giving you back your own money. $21.60, I think, is the number. The best number we've gotten is about $4 grand if we all do it together. And regardless of what happens here tonight, I have to stand next to every single one of these people, and I have to answer questions. I have to make sure that they're taken care of. That responsibility is on me to do that. I have 4 other people that also bear that burden. We cannot let fear or backlash from what may happen in the future, a lawsuit, because the owners did everything right, but didn't do one thing right: take care of the people. And that's their job. When you own a piece of property, you have to take care of everything on that piece of property. You can't just tell them, I'm done with you 30 days, I took your money for 15, 20, 40 years, or whatever it is, in their case 5 years, and tell them they gotta go. I had all kinds of stuff written down, talked to you guys. I mean, these people did an amazing job at communicating that to you. I've worked with Mr. Luke back here, and I've tried. We've all tried, and I think that we have the ability to reach common ground for the human aspect of it. But we gotta stop this deal in its tracks. We gotta stop it here. We gotta stop it now. We gotta make sure that we understand this just isn't business, quote unquote. This is people, and this is what we're here for. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Does that was all that we had on our sign-in sheet. Applicant, got 10 minutes for your rebuttal.
My name is Luke Strawn. I am part of the ownership group, Shadow Valley Bixby LLC. We own Shadow Valley Mobile Home Park. A few things. We bought this as a business. As is common, there were some knowns and unknowns about the business that was purchased. We have owned this park for about 4.5 years. We have done everything we know how to do to make this a successful business. We have attempted to work out deals with new home dealers. We've attempted to buy homes and move them in. We spent thousands of dollars trying to correct infrastructure issues, and it's a losing battle. And the main issue for the inability to get homes in there is the fact that you can no longer, there are very few options for financing for mobile homes that are in a park. If you want to purchase land and put a mobile home on that, there's numerous options for that. But in a park where you don't own the land, there are very few options. We do feel this is the highest and best use of land for the city and plan to work with potential developers of Conrad Farms and other adjoining landowners. I do want to speak to the crime issue, because a lot of what we have heard tonight is not a zoning issue, and that is what we're here for, is a zoning issue. From May 1st of 2014 to May 1st of 2015, Shadow Valley had 115 calls for service from the city of Bixby. That includes police and fire. The Marquee on Memorial, which is an apartment project that we would closely resemble, had a total of 37 calls in the same time period for service. Most of this meeting has been about retail sales tax for the city of Bixby. The only way to get more retail here, and I'm not telling you gentlemen anything you don't know, but the only way to get more retail here is to get more people here. You have to have the people before you can do the retail. At this point, I'll answer any questions that you might have.
Do you know the population difference between the Marquee and the Shadow Valley?
Well, there are about 100 mobile homes, and there are 184 units at the Marquee Memorial. So now, I can't give you population exacts, but that's number of doors in a multifamily property. So it's about double what in terms of number of doors. I would guess that the population is fairly close in size.
Of the mobile homes that are there, how many would you guess cannot be moved because of age, because they've been there so long?
Well, I'm not a professional mobile home mover.
Yeah, I think you'd have an idea.
I would guess. We have had, I'll tell you this, we've had to tear down 5 since we own the park because they were uninhabitable and they couldn't be moved. My guess is there are somewhere between 30 and 40 homes that are of the age that a mobile home mover would probably not opt to not move them.
So those folks have got to start all over.
The other thing too is that we talk about this, and first I want to say that number one, I know you're not in a comfortable situation tonight, so I recognize that. And number two, you and I probably aren't going to agree, so I recognize that too.
Fair enough.
But I want to say this: one of the reasons why that I ran for this position was because over and over again, I'm going to get to the human side in a second. But when you look at multifamily housing, the citizens in my ward in particular, when I won, were tired of apartments coming into Memorial and coming into Bixby. 151st is the future Memorial. 151st is where commercial is going to start coming in. So when you look at rezoning something for multifamily housing, the citizens here who elected me, who I have to answer to, do not want any more apartments. They're done with them right now. Apartments do a few things. They do bring in people to attract possible sales tax revenue to businesses. More rooftops mean more businesses. I get that. But we have rooftops to bring in businesses. What apartments do is put a strain on the infrastructure, put a strain on public safety, and put a strain on our school system. And so that's why when you look at the apartment aspect of it, not the human side of it, which is to me outweighs far more than anything, is why just the apartments alone. And so that's why when we come and look at, do we really have a comprehensive plan for South? I think with a new council, we need to look at this and see really what do we want south of the bridge. To me, real Bixby, in my mind, Bixby came from south of the bridge and kind of spread out to north of the bridge. And I love representing Ward 4. These people are my neighbors. They're the ones that I go to see at Quick Trip in the morning, or see at Walgreens, or bump into at Doc's. I mean, they're my neighbors and my family. And Ward 4 has been my family, and these people are my family. So that's why I'm just kind of, I'm not in support of apartments coming into this because that's what the citizens have said, and just not them. Unilaterally, unanimously, you go talk to any citizen in Ward 4, my ward that I represent, they'll tell you they're tired of apartments coming into Bixby.
Any other questions from council?
I was gonna say, like, I agree with Richie. He, you know, when I ran for this, I mean, people call this a democracy. We're not a democracy, we're a republic. And that's because we are representatives of the people. And I have to vote the way the people want me to vote, no matter what I think. So, that's why I'm voting.
Yeah, I have one thing to say. On the letter here, the public protest, you know, I guess that's one thing that does bother me a little bit. Not a little bit, a lot. I shouldn't say a little bit.
It was, can I speak to it real quick?
Yeah,
It was
please
in
do.
front of my business that they were going to protest. I had no issue with them protesting out here. I had no issue with them walking down here and the news coverage and all of those things. But they were attempting to impact my livelihood. I have never come to anyone's business when they were late on rent. I've never come to anybody's work when they were late on rent. That would affect their livelihood.
Well, I don't think anybody would feel like your particular company was affected if there were people protesting out in front.
Well, that, again, you said we'll have to agree to disagree.
Yes, sir. The other thing, too, I want to address really quick. Were you finished?
Yeah.
When you look at the people aspect of this, I have not been able to sleep soundly. With the rains that came through, my family drove through there. There's a lot of potholes in your streets. I'm glad I had a Jeep, or me and the puppy would have been on the side of the street. There is drainage issues. Okay, so I was looking at how was your park? People, when you bought the park and you invest in the lives of people, that was the greatest investment anyone can make, is in people. When you invest in people, I believe you'll never lose. And when we side with people, we never lose, because at the end of the day, that's what we're here for people. And so I see a good opportunity here working with the people to make the park a better place. Again, as you said, not speaking to your business, because only you know what you've done, and I'm sure you've done everything humanly possible to help too. I don't question that at all. But I think knowing that people could be displaced, my neighbors and friends, there's no way I'm going to support this. And then at the end of the day, you, as a landowner, I think they realize that at the end of the day, you can move them out and you can evict them, and they realize this, and they're still coming here. But I'm going to go on record standing with them.
Any other zoning questions?
No other questions? Do we have a motion?
No motion to approve?
Yeah.
The applicant, if there's no motion to approve, there's an opportunity for a motion to deny, but if the motion to deny passes, you will not be able to apply again for another year under ordinances for the same use. So, you understand that? Yes,
Can I
sir.
ask a question? I'm sorry. Did you say for the same use?
Right.
For the same use?
Yes.
Thank you.
So with the motion, no motion at all, what are our choices?
Well, you can withdraw the application at this time if you don't want a motion to deny, or you can let it stand. And I would suggest that a motion to deny would be appropriate if it's not going to be approved.
No, we do not withdraw.
Okay.
Motion to deny.
Second.
Stewart.
Yes.
Loudmout.
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Easton.
Yes.
I do have one question, gentlemen. Are we protected for tomorrow they give us a 30-day eviction? How are we not protected by the city of Bixby in some way?
No,
We're gonna let our city attorney answer that.
we don't regulate that. That's, I believe it'd be the Landlord-Tenant Act, Oklahoma. To my knowledge, they can go ahead and do that.
We're not breaking any park rules.
I have no idea what your leases are.
Yeah,
and
depends what
so-
your lease says.
And I really can't give advice on that. So,
If it comes to that, yeah, right, if.
There's no if. I stood right here and heard him tell the quarry engineer guy, doesn't pass, we'll just evict them all tomorrow.
Or,
Just let him-
there's no,
We really just can't give you advice on that, sir.
Okay.
That's, that will be a private matter.
There has to be some type of emergency, something that you can do for that.
we don't regulate rentals or mobile home parks. There certainly is, you can resort to the courts if you
Yeah,
can
you
find
can
a
maybe
case.
go hire, go grab an attorney
If
real
you have
quick and
legal
see.
counsel, yes. And let me just say, I'm going to be praying for everybody, okay? I'll be praying for you.
Sure.
I'm Marion Wright. We live in 140. We've been there over 10 years. When we first moved in, the whole park was totally full. It was kept clean and well, didn't have these ruts this big. The reason no one else has moved in is because the park has not been kept up.
And you can
Okay.
say it's got something to do with financing, but we have a lot of construction going on around here. They could put in the electrical things, and the construction workers could bring their travel trailers in there and live for a month at a time while they're working around here and have somewhere to go. I mean, there's other ways to make this park functional.
Okay. Thank you, folks, for coming out.
We'll try and find an attorney tomorrow. We got it. It's good. Best of luck with you guys.
Thank you.
See you, buddy. Best of luck.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. See you, bud.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I lived in Bixby, and I went
Well, hopefully you'll still be living there in 30 days.
Yeah, hopefully, maybe they'll.
I hope he's just, we'll see. Best of luck to you guys.
Moving on to item number 10. That's passed. Item number 11, city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Council, I would ask if you could let me know if your plans to attend the 2015 Taste of Bixby that our colleagues, the Bixby Metro Chamber, are going to be hosting. It's their annual event. It is
When is
June
that again?
11th.
June 11th.
5:30 to 8 p.m. at the Spirit Bank Event Center. If you'll let me know tomorrow.
I will attend. Did you hear that, Councilman Stewart?
What is it?
It's June 11.
Thursday.
That's
No, that's a Thursday. I won't be there.
Okay, I got it.
We'll arrange for you and a guest to attend if you let us know.
You need to let Doug know so
Just an email.
he
Yes, sir.
can save us a spot.
Got mine, so.
Okay.
I thought Loudermilk would come for sure.
Well, he would if he were in town.
Yeah, both in town.
So thank you for that. I would share with you, we did sustain some wind damage at Bentley Park in terms of shade structures on certain the ball fields, and we've had damage to the multi-purpose building now from 2 successive windstorms and tree limbs into that. We have a claim pending now with our insurer, OMAG, but I just wanted you to be aware of that. I did receive something from Corey Kent White. We did actually discuss this earlier, but he sent a message to the city of Bixby and to everyone who helped organize the Coming Home event. And he asked that we spread this word to his hometown, and I was going to take this moment just to read his short thank you. He says, "I'm not sure I will be able to find the words to express how thankful I am for all of you. Thank you so much for sacrificing your valuable time and working so hard on this event. I can honestly say that May 21st, 2015 was one of the most special days I will ever have. I will remember it forever. Thank you for that gift. I'm so proud to be from Bixby, Oklahoma. On May 21st, I realized that Bixby was proud of me. I'm overwhelmed. I'm humbled. I'm grateful for each and every one of you. May God bless you, Corey Kent White." And he did ask that he send his gratitude back to this community. And I did want to remind the folks at home that we do have our award-winning splash pad in operation now. I believe the hours are from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 7 days a week. Ours are in operation a little bit longer than you find in the city of Tulsa, but they'll be in operation until Labor Day weekend would be when those would conclude. So with that, I'd be glad to answer any questions council may have.
Actually, I don't know if it would be, if I could, I just wanted to recognize Public Safety and Public Works for the outstanding job they did, and the floods that had hit Ward 4 so hard, and man, them employees just worked their tail ends off all weekend helping people.
I appreciate that, Councilman. Indeed, we had staff on shift as usual from our 24/7 operations, but also called in employees to deal with the flooding issues. And that runs the gamut from streets to parks coming in to public works, and of course police and fire doing what they do and are trained to. And actually we had donated labor. He won't tell you, but I'll tell you the mayor donated labor that really helped out, because we did have people who had already left for some holiday plans, and a number were able to get back, some weren't. So that really helped out a lot. We appreciate that.
City attorney was there filling bags there.
I'll tell you what, how about that?
Yes.
I was out looking for Dennis, and I was going to bring him. I couldn't find him.
You didn't look very hard.
Well, guys, I want to say thank you to staff and to the employees. You guys hit a home run, and thank you. The people felt really cared for and appreciated.
Very good.
On behalf of staff, thank you.
We adjourn this meeting of Bixby City Council at 7:50 p.m. and open the Bixby Public Works Authority meeting at 7:50 p.m. May 26, 2015. Let the record show everyone is in attendance except Councilman Guthrie. Consent agenda. Questions, comments, motion?
You're going to have to pull B and C again.
Pulling B and C. Do we have a motion to approve items A, D, E, and F of the consent agenda?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Loudmout.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
King.
Yes.
And Easton.
Yes. On the regular meeting, item number 1, consider and take action to authorize the chairman of the Bixby Public Works Authority to sign Oklahoma Department Environmental Equality Consent Order 13-051-Addendum A to allow additional time to complete third-party negotiations. Chair.
Yes, Mayor and Council, this is a follow-up to the consent order that we received on our wastewater treatment plant, both our north and south lagoon. We don't particularly have a lot of choice in this, other than that we do want to recognize the fact that the EQ did grant us an additional time to pursue to see if we could bring to successful conclusion some negotiations with the Tulsa Metropolitan Utility Authority and Broken Arrow Metropolitan Utility Authority and the Regional Metropolitan Utility Authority, conversations that we've had with them regarding wastewater treatment. So this extension of time gives us pretty much to the end of July, or to the 1st of July, to wrap up those negotiations. And that's this consent order simply is a recognition of additional time.
And we're still keeping in mind that we could still go our own path.
Yes, sir. This is just to see what, if they would even entertain such an item. If they would, we'll
Need
bring
more
that up.
time.
Need more time.
So this is a motion to authorize the chairman of the BPWA, and is that D?
That's you.
Oh.
you.
Okay, this is a motion to allow me to sign a consent order item addendum A for additional time.
Yes, sir.
Do we have a motion?
Just Google it, it's in your job title.
That's $60K a year, baby.
Move to approve.
Second.
Stewart.
Yes.
Loudermilk.
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Easton. Easton.
I should abstain, but I'll say yes. Any new business?
Mayor, Chairman, I have to ask, does the Public Works Authority want to have a special meeting following the special meeting on the 1st to perhaps approve the budget?
I would recommend you would.
Yeah.
Good move, yes.
Yeah.
So-
Thank you,
We'll
sir.
have that agenda also.
So we will move items C and D from the consent agenda, no, B and C from the consent agenda until June 1st work session.
At 5 o'clock in the
5
Dawes
o'clock in
conference
the
room.
Dawes conference room.
I can give notice to the Secretary of the BPWA that that special meeting has been asked for.
And Mayor, Council, if I may, in order to be of most service to you, if there are particular bits of information or things that you care to share with me well in advance of that meeting that can help me prepare for that to facilitate your meeting, I would welcome that in the interest of helping you resolve or be sure that we can address issues to your choosing. So open to that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Meeting adjourned at 7:54 PM.